Actually, cut that because, girl, we can't be giving financial advice. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I have forgotten my intro because I thought that in June was going to get back to it. And, spoiler alert, as y'all saw, I didn't. But I'm back. I have an agenda. We are here to talk about student loans. And every month, once a month, I will be back with a student loan update. What's going on with student loan repayment on my end, on my journey towards paying off my 6-figure student loan. What the heck is going on with the SAVE plan? What's going on with this administration? Which, again, the current Department of Education is run by Linda McMahon, who before she was the Secretary of Education, which she has no background in education, she ran the WWE. There are a million reasons why this is not going well, and that is one. Okay, so this is going to be our agenda because I wrote it down this time. What I've paid since July. The SAVE plan is ending. The current administration just put out a press release, as always, filled with the word illegal. They love that word. For an administration that has been documented to be doing so much illegal activity in every realm imaginable, I find it funny that they like to point at other people saying the word illegal when it's inaccurate. So since the SAVE plan is ending, likely at the end of this year, maybe early next year, the court has to approve that. We're going to talk about why I personally am choosing to stay on the SAVE plan until we get officially booted off of it. And maybe that could work for you. And then we're going to talk about student loan refinancing. Today, we're sticking to the agenda. So, what I've paid since July. I'd like to say, actually, before I get into that, one, I've missed y'all. Two, I'm a big believer that if you're going to have goals and intention setting, whatever you'd like to call it, for January in the new year, good riddance to 2025. What a hectic year. If you start them in December, you're more likely to keep them going through February. So that's why I'm starting this now because, I've clearly been a little MIA, a little bit, but I had good reasons. And I'm back now. Life has really been a roller coaster. Some good, some bad, some great, some sad, a little bit of everything. I'm sure all of you are also having a roller coaster 2025. Unfortunately, for all of us in this country, imagine the country itself is responsible for 80% of your personal roller coaster. Wow. We don't have to live like this. We can talk about that at the end. Okay, so what I've paid since July. So if you're new here, my starting student loan balance when I started this student loan payoff journey in February of 2020, it's been 5.5 years, 5 3/4 years, almost 6 years, 5 7/8 years, was $304,680.17 trifling cents. That is inclusive of about $90,000 of predatory interest, aka money I did not borrow. I have stopped calculating that amount because it pisses me off deep within my soul. Okay, so these are always retroactive. So I'm going to start with what I paid in July, August, September, October, and November. What I've paid in December will then get rolled into our January student loan video, which I will be sitting here doing. That was really a note for my future self. I'm going to do it, I swear. And we'll also get back to our live streams. Let me focus my brain. So in July, I paid $1,550. Not too bad, not quite that high. There is a reason why these numbers are up and down, and I'll talk about it in a second. And it's a good reason. August, I paid $5,250. If you're wondering, Stephanie, where the hell does money come from? I went back to corporate. That's why I haven't been online. And life has also been crazy outside of, the 9 to 5. I am a lawyer. A tech lawyer, which next year, officially, it'll be 10 years since I graduated law school and passed the bar at 25. Wild. Time really flies. Okay, so September, I paid $11,500. Big money. October, I paid $2,000. And in November, I paid $2,900. Now, I'll say the remainder and then I'll say why the money is a little up and down. So that leaves my remainder balance at the beginning of December to $78,576.90 trifling pennies, which leaves my estimated total paid. It's estimated because I don't count what I paid between 2016 and 2020 because I have been very transparent. When I first graduated law school, I was ducking and dodging Sally Mae. I didn't have any money. It was very hard to get a job. When I did finally get a job, I was making pennies as a lawyer. Because I was my brief stint in entertainment for a year. And then I also transferred banks from Bank of America, a trashy, trifling, awful bank. I will never forgive Bank of America for overdrafting my account over 30 cents in law school. Yeah. After I cried to them about it. Anywho, once I transferred over to the current bank, there's no way to look that up. So estimated total paid is the money that I can personally count. This is most likely another 10, 15K tack on. Estimated total paid brings me to $236,000. This is crazy. I haven't looked at this number. Oh, wow. This is why doing this series monthly is good for my mental health, to show hey, you're almost done. Because when you just pay it and you're not looking at how much, how far you've come, it can get a little dismal real fast. Okay, estimated total paid in the past almost 6 years, $236,969.63 hard-earned pennies. All right, wild. Now, you might be wondering, Stephanie, isn't the whole purpose of you going back to corporate so that we can give a steady amount of money to these people every month? Yes. The reason why the money in October and November, as well as July, was a little bit low is because we got married. Hey, babe.
I'm married now. I say I'm married now.
And we cash flowed the wedding. So yay to that. Also, we stuck to that budget that I told y'all last year that we were going to do. And shout out to a few of our family members that chipped in, which really, really helped. If y'all are interested in how you can have a very beautiful, I guess I'll put a little pictures, a very beautiful, heartfelt wedding the way you want it in New York for under $25,000. Our budget was $20,000. We went over by $3,000. That's basically on budget. Let me know, and then we can maybe focus the next video, of course, obviously on student loans, but then the financial aspect can be planning for large events, whether that's weddings, a party. You should throw yourself a party if you've paid off your student loans. Hell, you should throw yourself a party because you're alive and you're surviving this place. We can do that because that was a really interesting feat of people being like, yeah, that's not happening. What do you mean you're paying $20K for the wedding? And I was like, sure, I said what I said. And I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And look at that. And honestly, sticking to that budget has really lowered my stress throughout the whole process. So this is not a wedding video. We're not going to talk about that, but that's where I was. So me telling y'all in June, yeah, we're going to do these videos. I shouldn't have said that. Because then between, the family health issues and then holding on to the joy that is all of your family and friends getting to come together for a wedding, child, I was busy. I was very busy. And then work, labor, which one has to do so that way you could eat. So yes. So let's talk about the SAVE plan and why I personally will be staying on the SAVE plan until it officially ends. Just a recap as to what the SAVE plan was. There are about 7 million people on the SAVE plan. The SAVE plan was implemented in February of 2024 by the Biden administration. Two big proponents of the SAVE plan were, one, lower payments, which was great for everyone in terms of hey, we're living through high inflation, so now you're going to get lower payments on the front end. Lower payments on the back end generally mean you're paying more interest. It should be noted that during the beginning of the SAVE plan, everybody in federal loans were not paying any interest. We were all on interest forbearance. So it was a win-win. The second big thing the SAVE plan proposed, and it actually followed through, so some people did receive student loan cancellation through, which was anybody who took out a student loan that was $12,000 or less, and they had been paying towards that $12,000 loan for 10 years or more, that loan was then canceled. When you do the math, you see how predatory the student loan system is, that people were still paying after 10 years of payment on a $12,000 loan. Most of those people had already paid back the loan, and it was the interest that was eating them alive. Now, when the current administration came into power and, decided we're going to be on fascism 4.0, they were gung-ho on getting rid of the SAVE plan, getting rid of any hope of student loan forgiveness, aka student loan cancellation. The more I grapple with the 200 and something thousand dollars I've given these people, I don't know that I agree anymore with the term student loan forgiveness, because forgive what? What did I do besides wanting to be a young woman who wanted an education? Is that bad? Is that wrong? I don't think so. But anyways, I digress because we'll get into a very long diatribe. So, as you can see here from this press release from the current administration, which again is run by a woman who knows more about wrestling than she knows about your child's education, from December 9th, 2025, today's December 11th, by the way. Today, the U.S. Department of Education announced a proposed joint settlement agreement with the state of Missouri that would end the Biden administration's illegal Saving on Valuable Education SAVE plan. And then it goes on to whine and bemoan the SAVE plan, which was not illegal. The president had the power to institute the SAVE plan. This current administration, this video will be longer than 20 minutes if we go down that rabbit hole right now. So, funnily enough, the press release then goes on to state, the Trump administration is righting this wrong and bringing an end to this deceptive scheme. The law is clear. If you take out a loan, you must pay it back. And for that, please bring back, what did Jasmine Crockett call her? Bad built butch body. There was a lot going on there. We probably shouldn't repeat that.
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Do you deserve kindness when you are a fascist, white supremacist shrill? I don't know. Actually, I think the answer is no, personally. Bring back Marjorie Taylor Greene, who took out a PPP loan that was literally forgiven. And multiple Republicans that took out PPP loans and had them completely forgiven. That's so interesting. And one could say that taking out a loan for your alleged business that does not actually run to do what you say it's going to do could be viewed by some as money laundering. But hey, according to this current administration, if you take out a loan, you must pay it back, but not if you're, certain types of people. Interesting. So, what does the end of the SAVE plan mean? Initially, the SAVE plan was supposed to phase out in July 1st of 2028. So you had a couple more years to still have the lower payments. The SAVE plan interest did kick back in, and interest for all federal loans kicked back in August. We'll talk about how much I've been paying in interest, and you can calculate how much you've been paying in interest. Now, what they are saying with the settlement, because as the state of Missouri sued, saying the SAVE plan was illegal, the state of Missouri is obviously run by people who hate education. Yeah, that's unfortunate. What is currently going to happen is once the court approves this, which the court is likely to approve, the settlement plan from the current administration, once this is approved, the SAVE plan will likely end early next year or maybe by the summer. So 2 years before it was supposed to end. The reason why they're doing this is because they want to push as much people into very expensive repayment as possible so they can collect more money, particularly the predatory interest of it all. Sadly enough, what is also going to happen is if you try to enroll in the SAVE plan, there are about 400,000 people who have applications, your application is also going to get voided. They want to push anybody into the remaining payment plans. You do not have to willingly sign yourself up for any other student loan payment plan. When they remove the SAVE plan, they themselves can do the manual labor and the paperwork of pushing your loan somewhere else. Nothing is going to happen if you leave your student loan on the SAVE plan. I'm currently on the SAVE plan, as well as 7 million other people. These are the reasons why I'm staying on the SAVE plan. Number one, I don't want to get stuck in the rigmarole of more paperwork with these people. Number one. Number two, technically the SAVE plan is on forbearance. So technically, even though I have been paying every month, I actually don't have a payment due. If an emergency were to arise, I would not have to make the payment right now. Why would you, in this high inflation, high chaos current situation, willingly put yourself on a forced repayment? Doesn't really benefit most people, in my opinion, because you can still make the payment without having a forced minimum. Interestingly enough, I think they're only doing this because it would make their lives easier if we 7 million people manually moved ourselves. Let them do the work. You want to take a job that you're not qualified for? aka the entire administration. You do the work and figure out how to move people yourself. For what it's worth. I do think it is worth noting that in 2026, most likely there will only be 2 plans left. So the 2 plans left are going to be your standard repayment, so 10 years or 25 years, and then the new plan, which will be rolled out July 1st of 2026, which is the repayment assistance plan. According to this Yahoo article, that plan, the payments will not be as low as the SAVE plan, but it will allow borrowers to pay between 1 and 10% of their income on a monthly basis for up to 30 years.
Are you kidding me?
If you pay your student loans for 30 years, even if you're paying the minimum, you're going to pay that loan back 2, 3, 4, 5 times because the interest is just going to grow, just going to roll. It's like a snowball. It's just going to roll. It's just going to roll. It's just going to roll. The reason why they want to pretend and set these things so low because they just want to catch people in an interest trap. The interest is what gets people. So what they're telling people, and this is why all of this is a waste of time, in my opinion, to bother yourself with any current paperwork, there are currently 4 plans under the income-driven repayment plan. What they want people to do is move themselves to one of the 4 plans to then be moved to one of the remaining 2 plans. Again, I don't really see the purpose of hassling yourself. You have a busy life. Child, trying to survive this country alone is stressful enough. What is really the reason? I do think it would be helpful to calculate how much your minimum payment, and more than your minimum, if we're being honest, would be on each of the plans. And then write that into your budget. If you have been using the forbearance to pay for other things and using it as a reprieve to, pay down credit card debt, or, emergencies are coming, or also the cost of grapes, it's still through the roof. The cost of ground beef is actually my new axe to grind because ground beef in New York costs $11.99 for a pound of ground beef. Ground beef. As in, this is offcuts. What do you mean this is $11.99? It's so expensive. Inflation between 2020 and 2025 is 25%. They finally have released those numbers and are being honest about it. So it's not you. It's not in your mind of wait, why can't I afford things? It is actually what's happening. So I completely understand people that have been using the forbearance to pay for other things. So there isn't a shock to your budget. I would write out okay, how much am I going to have to pay? So you can start moving that around for what it's worth. Now that we're all back paying interest, which I want to tell y'all what my interest has been, because I did write it down. My interest since August, so that's August, September, October, November, 4 months of interest, has been $1,858.73 trifling cents, aka almost $2,000 of money I didn't borrow. Nothing has pissed me off more than to watch that damn interest rise. Because as I'm paying it, instead of my total payment going towards the principal, which it was doing all this time, now it's showing a couple hundred towards the interest, $50 towards the interest. And I'm like, what the hell? And this is new debt just is creating itself. So if you have senior interest, you might be wondering, okay, do you want to refinance your loans? Now, let's go through this quickly. Now, first and foremost, refinancing your loans. You should not refinance your loans if you are doing PSLF. PSLF is public service loan forgiveness. So all of our actual decent, good, well-meaning, well-intentioned, needed government workers. I have a lot of friends that work good government jobs. If you are doing PSLF or if you work in a nonprofit that is currently not being attacked by the current administration, public service loan forgiveness, you cannot get PSLF if you refinance with a private company. You have to keep the loans consolidated into one federal loan. So refinancing is not for you. I'm 10 prayers and fingers crossed that, this is not funny, sorry. 10 prayers and fingers crossed that PSLF survives, because the good service that the average government worker is doing, I'm not talking about the raggedy rats of Doge. Those are rogue people that really deserve criminal prosecution. I'm talking about the people that work at the post office, your government lawyers, your public defenders, people fighting the good fight, the teachers. They deserve student loan forgiveness. And I'm of the opinion that, 5 years is enough. 10 years that's serious. That's real steep. Anyways, you have to stay on a federal loan. Refinancing not for you. Refinancing to a private loan is maybe everybody else. So let's talk about it. So When you refinance through a private loan, the number one reason and the only reason you should be doing it is because the interest rate will be lower than your current student loan. If your federal interest rate is low, you don't need to refinance. My two remaining student loan interest rates are 6.84% and 7.21%. They're high. On that same article that I was referencing, they have this advertisement. The advertisement is showing private refinancing rates between 3.99% and 5.88%. Decent rates, lower than mine, should save you money. Now, this is solely a math problem. And the reason why it's solely a math problem is one of the other arguments against refinancing with a private company was you'll lose federal protections. Look who's running the place. There are no federal protections anymore. If you're in PSLF, hold on to it. I'm, again, 10 prayers and fingers crossed for y'all, the only group that is getting some type of federal protection. Everyone else, I think it's safe to say the current administration hates people, hates education, is trying to criminalize education. And I would like to know, because I feel like I try to imply it and it's understood. Venting about one's student loans doesn't mean you don't believe in education. I wholeheartedly believe everybody should go to college. College is a great way to gain access to knowledge, a good framework of how to think about things, to push yourself, etc. Great socialization with different types of people. I believe in it. I think deep in my spirit that college in this country should be free. Okay. I digress. I do believe in student loan cancellation for everybody, even though in the original student loan cancellation proposal, I didn't qualify. If student loan cancellation happens under the next administration after I paid off my student loans, I will cheer it on for what it's worth. The problem is that we have gamified and allowed capitalism to charge exorbitant costs for the education. The problem is not the education. Everyone needs education. So back to this. So let's do a bit of math. This is how y'all should know that this is nothing but love and care, because I hate math and math is not my ministry. So the math you're going to do is your student loan interest rate divided by 365, the amount of days in the year, multiplied by the unpaid principal balance multiplied by 30, assuming 30 days in the year. I know some months have 31, then there's February that's 28. We're going with 30. Okay, first thing to know, the principal balance is not the original principal balance. For an unsubsidized loan, it is your original principal balance plus all the capitalized interest. Let me show you something to make your blood boil because it pissed me off. The two loans I'm working on, one is about $8,000 left. That will be done in January. Finally, I'll get a star in my chart. Do y'all remember that chart? Y'all haven't seen that chart in many years. I'll bring the chart up when I put a star on it. The remaining loan is my largest student loan from Brooklyn Law School. The original loan from 2014 was $53,873. As you can see here, the loan then with its 7.2 in interest rate then became an unpaid principal of $61,947.85. If you're wondering, Stephanie, where did that $8-ish grand come from? That's capitalized interest, aka the interest that was rolling while my ass was sitting in class. The system is predatory. Because why would y'all do that? Why would y'all? Anyways, then the current interest now is calculated on that larger unpaid principal. So that's where you're going to take for this mathematical equation. So we're going to use my largest student loan as the example. You'll see the equation on the screen. So it's to convert the percentage into decimals. Hello, shout out to my math teachers that gave me tutoring all years of high school. They used to feel bad for me. I really appreciated them because they're like, how are you in honors and AP classes and everything? And girl, you just struggling. You're just struggling in math. So if you know young people and they're bad at math, encourage them to go to tutoring. Let a teacher, help them, speak some life into them and let them get through it. I think my biggest issue with math was being told in the beginning I wasn't good at it, so that I just didn't want to do it for what it's worth. I don't think I'm actually that bad at math. Anyways, as I probably go on to show that I'm probably still bad at math. Anyways, I wrote it out, so I know this is correct. So we're going to get 0.07021 divided by 365 multiplied by that trifling new principal balance of $61,947.85 trifling cents multiplied by 30. That is currently $357.48 trifling cents of monthly interest. This is for the one loan. I'm currently paying $500 something in interest a month. This has been happening since August. Yeah, it's a robbery. Okay, so if I refinance now, I have really good credit. Let's say I refinance to 4.34% loan. We do that same math with the new interest amount. Then the monthly interest would drop down to $220.98 trifling cents. Because it's trifling, because again, this is money I didn't borrow. Which would give me a very nice savings of $136.50 per month of repayment. Important to note, say it takes me 9 more months to pay off that loan. That means my total savings will be $1,228.50. And you know what? I could do a lot with $1,200. So yes, I will be refinancing my loans probably in January because I'm going through the process of all the name change. And side note, why have we not in the year of 2025 figured out a way you just change your name in one place? You got to go to the DMV, Social Security office, to the bank. I have to tell HR. And also, the burden is just on the woman. This is trifling. Sexism, alive and well, stealing time. Okay, so I would say the best way to think about refinancing is the more you owe and the higher your remaining principal balance is, the more you should consider refinancing. Okay? All right. And then I just wanted to show, because I don't trust things. I don't trust people for the most part. It takes a long time to prove that, I could trust you. I calculate it every day because it shows you now every day how much money they're adding on. I made a spreadsheet. So I was calculating in August and September till I was like, okay, advantage, I guess. You're not trying to sneak in a couple trifling cents on me. For my 7.21% interest on that large student loan, that's $12.22 trifling cents a day, which comes out to $379.13 a month. For the smaller student loan, it's 6.28%. That was in August, $500. So $500 a day. Y'all wouldn't find me in the Hudson River. That was $5.28. Sorry, trigger warning. I shouldn't joke, but really though, y'all. Or I would have probably burned the building down. $5.28 a day, which was $163.68 a month, with a total in August interest $542.81. So you can see in September, because in September I'm doing the debt snowball method, so I'm throwing everything at that smaller loan. You now see the smaller loan go from $505.28 a day to $4.55 in interest a day, because I'm attacking the principal balance. So the more you pay, the lower the interest is. Okay. I'd like to end these with, how are y'all doing? How are y'all surviving in fascism? Stressful. It's stressful. Snatch joy where you can. The only way you can continue to keep the fight up is to snatch joy. And that's what I have realized through this tumultuous year. And, it's hard, because then you're going to feel guilty, and then you're going to be like, oh, and then the next day is going to be like, oh, we back in the dumps. And then you got to keep yourself fortified. Our ancestors only survived and thrived in the end so much and got their freedom because they snatched a little joy to keep fighting and to have community. So how are y'all doing? How's your student loan payoff going? It's been a couple months since I've been on here, so I'm sure a few of you have paid off your student loans, or maybe gotten the last of the SAVE plan, student loan forgiveness. So claps to y'all. And for anybody who got student loan cancellation through PSLF, thank you for your contributions. I know being a government worker at this time is really stressful. So thank you for fighting the good fight, particularly with the cronies they're trying to put in place. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. I hope you'll have a lovely holiday season. And I will see y'all in January. And maybe I'll see y'all. Let me be honest. Let's choose honesty. I'll see y'all in January. Because I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a live stream. I don't know about that. But I will see y'all in January for this series, and then we'll be back to the live streams. And something I'm thinking of doing, probably on Patreon. Currently, Complexion of Law Season 2 we're moving episode 2, sorry, Flexion Law episode 2, we're moving forward. We have conducted 4 interviews so far, so those are being released on Patreon. I think we'll also do, before Christmas, I want to do a side-by-side of Sydney Sweeney and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and why that specific archetype of bottled blonde, dangerous. As a bottled blonde myself, ain't that type though. Why that specific nefarious white supremacist bottled blonde. How to spot it, how to stop it, how to combat that. So we'll probably do that over on Patreon. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all. And as always, stay warm. Because it's currently the real feel in New York is 19. But I'm dressed to be my friend's dates for her holiday party. So we're looking festive. Do y'all like my new earrings? The new earrings finally is what got me to stop my procrastination. I ain't gonna lie. You gotta be a millennial sometimes and get yourself a little treat. And what's better than a little treat from a black-owned business? Hello? And they're really lightweight. They're from Paper Papayas. She has them in different colors. Oh! All right, that's my cue to go. I'll see y'all later.